Okay, so we are in a 1997 Toyota 4Runner, and we currently have an Alpine deck that was installed in it, which is a decent deck, but we want to install this Pioneer deck because it's a bit newer. It's got the USB plug, which is a handy thing to have. So first thing we're going to do is get all of our junk off of the center console. We've got a screwdriver. That's all we'll need at first. So this comes off fairly easily. We've never done this before, so we're gonna just kind of be really careful with it. And it's supposed to just kind of pop off. We learned this from a drunk guy doing a YouTube video, and it does. It's fairly simple. We've got some wiring. We're just going to unplug this. There's 2 wires on this one. Pretty easy. And looks like it's a little bit of a clip there. Should come out. So that piece is now free. And we're going to do some cleaning too. As you can see, there's some gunk in there. We'll clean that up when we go. And then this part is supposed to pop off in a similar fashion, and it does. Look at that. They're making things easy on us. I'm going to release the shifter. Get it a little bit further out of our way. So this thing, it also just pops off, which is super handy. Yeah, look at that. Boy, they're making this easy on us. Again, there's some hair and crap. We're gonna take care of that. Then the next thing, we know there's 2 screws behind this. If you can get a little straighter shot down there. So behind the heating control, there are a couple screws, one there and one there. So we're going to pop off the knobs. I'm going to throw them down in there. That's going to work really nicely for our screws, because we don't want to lose any of those.
You too can use that for your screws.
Very, very, very good. Very well said. And then this is going to pry off. We're going to pry this guy off here. I'm going to be careful because I actually care about my dash. I don't want to totally mess it up, but yeah. So that's just kind of pops off there. Wow, simple. That down there. And you can see there is 1 screw there, and let me get a flashlight, we can see a little better. So as you can see, there's a screw there, and then that one's for a different part. We don't need to take that off, but that one, and there's 1 back in there. So I don't know if you can see that very well. If you're looking, you'll be able to see it in your car. But those are the 2 screws. We're going to take those out. We're going to take out the ashtray, get it out of the way, or the coin holder, as we use it for. And then that just pops out. Look how easy that is. You want to be a little bit careful, because you don't want to break anything, but that's it. It pulls right out. And then you've got your hazard light and your rear defrost connections, which there's a little tab on the top. Push that tab down, a little bit of a wiggle, and they should come out. They've probably never been removed since they came from the factory. And then there's another one down here for the clock, which looks like it has been repaired, which may explain why my clock doesn't work. There we go. So that came off. And then down here we have, this is for the 12 volt, the cigarette lighter. But Yeah, we'll unplug this. So we've got that. We've got this one probably to light it up so it glows. That one I'm just gonna pop. That's the light bulb.
LED.
And this is also a light bulb, I'm guessing. There we go. Yeah, it's just kind of pushed in there. So we've got that. And I think that's all. Yes. So that's it. So we're going to pull this stereo out, which is mounted in just this standard housing. This is specific for Toyota, this metal piece. When you pull like a stock stereo has usually a tape deck and a CD player, but this is what the piece that's specific for Toyota. So we're going to pull it out, and then we'll mount the new one in the same housing. There's 4 screws. This is a pretty handy housing to use. So I'm glad they did and didn't just make something up. I would recommend it. It definitely makes installation easier and cleaner. The other thing that you'll want to do too, usually anytime you're working on electronics in your car, is to disconnect the negative on your battery. So definitely recommend that.
Did we do that?
No, we didn't do that.
Okay.
We might. We'll see what the wiring looks like. So you can see that once I got this last 4th screw started, it started to tip because of the weight, and so this is all sorts of interesting stuff here. This is all part of the older style Alpine here, and they used the correct harness, which is excellent. So we've got, this is just a USB that goes into the glove compartment. The problem is that these older stereo, you can't plug like a mobile device or an iPhone or anything into that. It just is, as far as I know, the research I did, would just play off of like a thumb drive or something, or a USB thumb drive. And then this is actually an old style Apple plug, the 30 pin. So these are the two, which were great at the time. This thing was installed, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, who knows. This is a really great thing, but it doesn't really serve our purposes today. So there you have it. That's what that is. I know you really wanted to know that. So we're just gonna unplug this guy and honk the horn. This is the antenna, which it's got a power antenna in this one, so I hope that will still work. It should, since we have the original wiring harness. And I am going to unplug. This is a harness specifically for this Alpine stereo that's being adapted to go to the original Toyota harness here. So unplug that, and this is now free. And so what we'll do now is we'll remove the stereo out of this these little brackets. And hopefully the other stereo will fit into these brackets fine, or we'll make some sort of minor adjustment possibly. So these are definitely shorter than what I took out earlier. They're similar color, but that's definitely longer. So it's alright, we know which ones we need where. be free. It's just got these little nubs here. If you can see those. These guys right here set into these holes. So maybe our new one will have that too. I'm not sure. And a lot of times on stereos it has, you know, what each color wire is for. I don't expect you to read that, but just that's a good place to look if you're wondering which wire is for which. So this is still a good stereo. Definitely not getting rid of that. And so now we'll do a little bit of wire cleanup. These little guys go with the stereo we just pulled out. Yeah, so these will be handy for another project. Keep those. Alright, so we're going to take this and shove up that. This is our new stereo. New quote unquote. New 3-year-old stereo we pulled out of a different vehicle. And this does not have the wiring on it. So fortunately though, we have this, which will show us the wiring. Even if we didn't have that, there's a thing called the internet that will show us lots of good things. So this has this little piece over it that came out of a Honda, and so that was the piece they used to hold it in place. We're just going to take this off. There's kind of clips in place here, and there's a special tool that you can use to slip it out if without having to take it completely out of the car, but we were taking it out of the car, so we'll just take it off this way. I don't know if we'll need that. We might. But you can see we've got several different options there, and I'm hoping some of them will line up. Should be about the same size. It's not dirty. Just pulled it out of the car the other day. So let's see if we get lucky here.
Oh!
So this must be some sort of a standard. We've got 2 screws that line up in the little holes for the little nubs, and beautiful. That's what I hoped for. And everyone rejoiced. And I can't get that started, so hopefully it's not a different thread. Huh, maybe it is. No, I see, it's not really even threaded. It's kind of interesting. Almost looks like it could take just a sheet metal screw or a wood screw, or maybe I just need to push a little harder here.
I believe that's it.
It's an interesting kind of design they have going on here. Never seen anything quite like that.
So the screw itself is threaded, correct?
Yeah, the screw is threaded, but the...
And here I do see a spiral.
Yeah.
So I believe it should go into that.
We might just have to try and get something a little different. Looks like it's... But the fact that it lines up is a positive thing. So let me go see what I have for screws. Probably find something that'll work.
It's going, I think. It is going. I think it's going, Dad. I think it's... I know how to work it. It's recording.
I know. Okay, so I went and I kind of dug around through my many random nuts and bolts and screws. So I think I've got some that'll work. I think I want to make it the right side up.
That might be helpful.
Find it. just has those nice little spots it likes to go. So one thing I want to be careful of is these are a little longer, but I can see through there. I can see there's nothing electronic very close to the edge, so I'm not too worried about it being too long, although it might work. Might not have enough thread on there because it's rather kind of a deep hole that it's going into. I think that'll work. And of course, what I found didn't have a Phillips head, so. But yeah, that's gonna hold. It doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be like super heavy duty. Just has to hold it. And that'll work. Perfect. It's actually pretty good. And we'll do the same thing over here.
It looks pretty tightly fit, so.
Yeah, these have more of a wood thread than the other ones, which are a machine thread. So but yeah, that's perfect. That will last for many, many years.
Many a moons.
So that's installed there. I think that's going to look just splendid. And we're going to have our USB plug back. We'll be able to charge our iPhones. So that's ready. The next thing is this is the Toyota harness. So that'll plug onto there. And then the other end is bare wires, which will plug onto here. We're going to cut this off. This is for a Honda. So we'll cut these off and we'll splice. So we'll get to do a little bit of hunting and pecking to figure out which wires go where. Let's open this up. Oh, and on the back of this is where it says which goes where. So. All right. Let's verify this is correct. That definitely is. That definitely is too. I'm gonna get my wire splicing tools, and we'll start figuring this out. This is the old harness that came off the back of the stereo we're installing to the Honda. And I don't have enough of these little guys, which would be great to have brand new ones. So I'm just going to clip the Honda end off, and then the new harness, we'll just put the wire in here and crimp it. So I'm just going to cut the rest of these off, and then we'll get to crimping. So the instruction book is a little bit not helpful. It doesn't just give us specific colors and then what they do. So I actually did a quick little internet search and found somebody that gave us a little more specific information. It's pretty straightforward. I just wanted to confirm, but we have color, yellow to yellow, red to red. It's pretty standard, but it's good to just verify and make sure. So I'm just going to start putting color to color and crimping it in place. And I don't think you care about watching this, because unless you're colorblind, it probably won't be very interesting. Even if you're colorblind, it's probably not that interesting. So we're gonna go ahead and just connect these two together, and then we'll see if it works. Well, my helper had to go to work, so it's just me finishing up the job, and so I've spliced all of the wires from the harness going to the stereo, and this is what will go to the vehicle. It's all color for color. There's a couple orange ones which are unused, but which is pretty typical when you're going from one harness to another, but it's all color for color, so they've made it really simple. So basically I've got I'm not entirely sure what this is here, actually. It wasn't plugged into anything before. It looks a lot like an antenna, but it's not, because this is the antenna. a little bit smaller. I don't know. Maybe satellite radio? I'm not sure. Anyway, that's just going to do nothing because that's what it was doing before. And I'm just going to plug in the harness to plug in the harness to the stereo. Wiring harness there, and then we've got the wiring harness. It's going to plug in here. Here's the vehicle end. It's quite simple. Plug it in. Plug that in. Now I'm not going to fully install it yet because I want to make sure it works first. I want to do all that work and then have to undo it. So we're going to plug in that. I'm just going to set it in place. Just turn it to accessory. See what happens. Yay. So that was just a setup, and then it turned off. So turn it on. Antenna went up. You can hear that there's nothing programmed, but we'll find a station.
Pay per mile, you pay for the miles you
There we
drive,
go.
not the miles you don't. So if you only drive
So
a
it's
little, you could save a lot. That's the kind of math we all
working.
want, and that's insurance for the modern world.
So it's working fine. That's the stereo. I'm going to plug in my iPhone just to make sure. I'm going to get my cord. My wife will be so happy. I will too, because I like to be able to charge. It's got a nice little USB there. My phone. Yay. Registered. There's my wife. There's a picture of my wife. Registered my phone and played some Beatles. It's good. It's very good. It's what I wanted. So now we're gonna just reinstall. Got the two screws that go on the left and the right, and then we'll put it all back together. But first, I'm going to clean up a bit. There's a lot of dirt and grime that's accumulated over the years, so I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup first, and then we'll come back and put it all together. So we're going to put it back together now, which most people, or a lot of videos I've seen on YouTube, they kind of stop here and they just kind of assume, well, you can figure out how to put it back together, and you probably could. So if you could figure out how to put it together, you can stop the video now. But I'm just going to keep showing you. I can get my camera to stay. I'm just going to keep showing you what I'm going to do to make this thing go back together, and if it's interesting, great. If it's not, then have a nice day, and thanks for watching. The first piece to go in is the stereo, which is here. We've got all of our wiring harness in place. Plug that in. That's the wiring harness. That's the antenna. It's very nice and clean, which I really like. Not a lot of funny wires wandering around. I'm gonna grab my screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Phillips screwdriver. And whenever I'm installing something like this, I always put them in, don't tighten them down until I get all of them started. It makes it a lot easier to A lot easier to line things up. And there's that, and then we've got the console part. If you remember, we had wires. I'm going to start with these wires down low. Got this little guy, it's just a light for the ashtray, or as I use it, the coin tray. That's where I put my coins, so when I have to plug a meter, I have coins. And this is just a little light bulb here, and I don't know if you can see it. Just put it in, and it's I think it's just a quarter turn. Yep, quarter turn. This guy is the power for the cigarette lighter 12 volt power. So that's that. And then these are the upper wires. This one's for the clock, which my clock doesn't work, which doesn't make a lot of difference. Although I like everything to work. Found a little more dirt there. So I'm going to plug it in, even though it doesn't work. Just like that. Big plug, little plug. So we've got the wires hooked up. This part here is for the heater in the air, and it needs to plug into this box. It's a little bit tricky to see. So you need to make sure that that goes in. It should go in pretty easily. And then we have clips here and here that hold into these guys. So you want to make sure that things are going in place. It should fit fairly nicely, but you'd definitely want to make sure that you've got stuff lined up. I'm going to start at the top, which is the opposite of the way it came out, and that feels good. Firm little, yeah, and you know, you'll be able to tell it's nice and flush around the edge, and that feels good. That's pretty good. Stereo looks nice in there. I have a ring for it, but I'm not going to need it somewhere, but it would just be a little thing that would go around the edge, but I don't think that's necessary. So once you get this piece in, before you put on the face to the heating controls, you want to put the screw in. There's 2 screws, remember, and it sits real nice and solid without these screws, but obviously if someone were to pull on it, it would come off without those screws, so don't forget those. Just in case you need another view of where those are, there's one right there. Don't be confused with the one that's up there. And then there's 2 that you can see through here. It's the upper one that you want. So those are the only 2 screws that take off this whole cover. And that should just slip in place. Make sure your levers are pointed straight out. That makes it a little bit easier. And that should just pop right in. Make sure the AC button works. So this boot, you can see there's a place here where the edge pops in, and then on the top and the bottom another along this edge. So let's start here. I've never done this before, so we'll see how easy this goes. maybe that I should start on this other edge. Or maybe it'll go. There, it popped in. It's pretty, yeah, it just kind of sits there, and I guess what's most important is how it looks from the top. So, yeah, I think we got it. And then this just has the same kind of clips as the upper part. That felt good. Latched down in place. Move that back up to the park position. By the way, make sure you set your emergency brake before you move that out of park using the release, which is right here on my vehicle. If you weren't if you didn't have your parking brake on, you would probably roll unless you're on a flat surface. So, one thing I wanted to point out is that these little clips here, that's the part that that these go into, and they're pretty fragile. This one, as you might be able to see the edge here, you can see it's already started to bend a little and could break off. And this one over on this side actually has broken. You can probably see that. And so you want to be really careful. This is what's holding this upper part of this center trim on. So you want to be really careful with those. I probably should glue this. I'm going to be really careful and just try and get it into place. And then I don't really have any glue that would work, but you just be really careful. Those are pretty pretty easy to break off if you're not careful. So let's put this in place. So the first thing, this is the clip that's going to go through this little hole right here. You can see it. There's a little hole. There it is. And then got a wire plug for the power button and the rear window button. So you're not going to be able to see this, but I think you can probably figure it out. I'm just going to pop it in place there. Pretty straightforward. I'm actually missing one of the little blanks there. Probably try and get one at some point. Fill the hole, or find some other switch to put in there to power something fun. So I'm going to begin at the bottom here and work my way up. So we'll start with these clips. And that was good. And that was good. So this one on this side, if you remember, was broken. So I'm gonna see if I can get this other side in. I'm not sure if it's lining up very well. That's part of the problem, probably. So it still look okay. Something is not allowing it to go down. Not sure what's going on there. Just doesn't feel like just bending that one down a little. I'm going to try and pull back on it slightly. There. So this one's nice and solid. This one's a little bit loose simply because it's broken. So the last thing is just to make sure everything works, and I've checked everything, hazards, and rear defrost and stereo, and that works. And yeah, you want to make sure everything works before you call it a done job. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.